Hey everybody, and welcome to AniBreak, the show that breaks down the week's hottest topics in anime, manga, and video games. My name's Jason, and this week we have news about an anime that's long overdue to get a movie. We have information regarding what anime films were submitted for Oscars in the United States this past week. Crunchyroll finally picked up a long series that's been long overdue to be brought into their service. And I'm sure many of you have seen it already, but we're going to talk about on this show how Microsft is going to embrace their inner otaku, at least their Japanese side, or Japanese branch will. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about this week, as always, and I'm very thankful you guys have come to share it with me here. So let's get started, actually, with a brand new trailer for Initial D. Now, we've talked about what's coming up for the franchise for over a year now. Initial D 5th stage was streaming on Animax pay-per-view channel in Japan last year, a year from today, actually. And there's been talk of what's going to happen beyond that. Well, it's a two-parter. One's going to be a collection of some of the amazing races they can ever put together into a new series. So it's going to be Initial D Final Stage, and that's actually going to be released sometime next year. I'm hoping for a final date, or at least a trailer for that. But in the meantime, we have a trailer for the upcoming movie, and I have to say, it's short but sweet in the sense that it takes, it's known for that classic CG car racing with 2D hand-drawn animated characters. Given that it's been like since the early 90s when that first started, and now we're going to have the movie that has all the advanced technology that's been created and developed for the past couple years, it works very well. But enough about me talking about it. Let's check it out. Looks good. And one of the reasons why the CG looks so good is the company that's handling that is Studio Sanzigen. We've talked about them actually very recently. They were the company behind, or the production company, I should state, behind the 009 Re-Cyborg movie. Also, they are behind the Soul Company, I should say, behind the Arpeggio of Blue Steel series, where they're basically trying to push the technology to the point where they want CG animation to not only imitate but replace hand-drawn 2D animation. It's not quite there just yet in terms of replacing the hand-drawn animation, but I will say this: the more and more I watch Arpeggio, the less and less the blockiness, I should state, of the animation, especially when people start moving around, it becomes less and less of a problem for me. So the fact they're handling at least the CG stuff for the Initial D film, it makes me very, very happy. So that should be coming out next summer. Little after that, we will have news of Initial D Final Stage coming out in Japan, and hopefully over here as well. If they try to do the same thing where, yeah, you can watch it in Japan, but you have to pay per episode on Animax, it doesn't bode well to actually have that come stateside, at least anytime soon. So that's one little bit. There are so many anime series to watch right now. Something like, I want to say 20, 25 different series. Some continuations of last season, some brand new ones. We've gone over them plenty of times before on this show, and it looks like the anime industry, I should say, isn't content with just waiting for, okay, we are currently in this one season, let me give you a glimpse of what may happen near the end of that season. No. We're going to jump into previews that are going to be releasing in 2014. We're going to jump that far. Okay, sure, why not? You guys are the anime companies. Let's see what happens. So we're going to showcase this new trailer for a series called Wizard Barristers. What's going on with this series? All we know is it's a fantasy slash legal anime. It's kind of weird in that sense, that you have wizards and magicians that can go around and perform magic, but the main characters are all part of a law firm. So I'm not sure what to expect from that kind of duality, maybe. You may have noticed the animation, at least the character design, may be very reminiscent of some former titles. This is actually being handled by Yasuomi Umetsu, most famously for Kite and Mezzo and whatnot. So here's the main character, Cecile. And here's a quick shot from an art book of Umetsu's previous works. You may notice that it's basically the same design. I mean, when you go into it, and you can go on Crunchyroll's website, they have an article that showcases a number of the cast and crew. You look at it, and I'm going, he doesn't really vary that much. I mean, he'll change maybe a hairstyle, maybe a hair color, but everything else is exactly the same. It doesn't really change all that much. Now, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing per se. This is basically more along the lines of you know what you're getting into when you're going to check something out from Kite. So yeah, let's see what happens with that. Moving on. So apparently it's getting close for all the major award seasons that happen all throughout Hollywood. Screen Actors Guild Awards, Golden Globes, Oscars, etc., etc. I only know about it because of traffic. I don't really watch any of it. The only one I kind of watch every once in a while is the Oscars, because I want to see the animation category. And if Pixar has yet to throw out a movie for it, then it's kind of up in the air who could possibly win. I was ecstatic years ago when Spirited Away actually won. That was an absolute blast to watch. But for this upcoming Oscar, they already have submissions open for the animation category. And this year we have 19 films that are submitted from all over the world. I mean, granted, you have the domestic ones, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2. How is that going to win? I don't understand that one. Despicable Me 2, The Croods, Epic, Freebirds, okay, sure, whatever. But there were 3 that actually surprised me. You may notice, you probably know these ones. You have A Letter to Momo. You also have the third Monica movie, Monica Rebellion. And you have Miyazaki's last feature film, The Wind Rises. So these 3 are currently in the running to at least be nominated. Because of a number of films that are actually nominated for this category, there will be 5 nominees, granted if all of them are accepted. The Academy apparently has a history of disqualifying movies that are less than 75% animated, but if 16 or more are accepted, there will be 5 nominees. And as much as people want it to win, I definitely do not see either A Letter to Momo, which initially I thought would actually be decent, or the Monica Rebellion movie would even get a chance of being nominated. I have to say this, out of these 3 alone, I'm not talking about the rest of the animated films that are submitted. I'm talking just about the anime ones from Japan. I have to say that The Wind Rises has the best odds, I should state. It has a number of things going for it. One, it's a Studio Ghibli film. It's already won an Oscar before. It's been nominated for a couple before. So it has the pedigree right there. This being Miyazaki's last feature film, has to tie in there somewhere. I'm hoping at least. They gotta throw something into that. And overall, all the reviews that have come out so far that I've read, as spoiler as some of them are, they're all saying it's actually a fantastic movie. Some people question the ideology behind the story, but overall, it's still a great film, so I cannot wait to check it out. Now, would I pick up The Wind Rises over, say, Freebirds, Frozen, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2? Oh, hell yeah. Is that possibly going to happen? I highly doubt it. It is of no surprise that there is going to be eventually some sort of anime manga out there about the Tohoku earthquake, the resulting tsunami, and of course the issues at the Fukushima nuclear power plant. Well, it looks like this is going to be first bit that's going to come out. There's actually a new manga that's going to be released by Kodansha. The translated title is 1F Fukushima Daiichi Nuclear Power Plant Work Log. The interesting thing behind this manga series is actually being written by a guy who was actually at the power plant after the earthquake and tsunami. So this is basically a manga adaptation of his experience working at the power plant, trying to bring it all under control, dealing with the fallout, dealing with the rubble and everything. I think that's actually going to be kind of cool. There was initially a one-shot version of this that was published in early October in Japan, and it created such a stir in the public that it was signed on to create an entire manga series. Now, I don't know if this will actually eventually turn into an anime, but the fact that it's getting a full manga series, that's got to say something, actually. I'm really thankful that at least something like this is getting out and the government's not trying to block it at all. I'm sure TEPCO probably had a number of reservations about this guy's story, but you know what? It is what it is. So, but hopefully this will make its way stateside soon. Moving on, I'm going to showcase something I've been actually reading as of late. We just talked about it last week, one of the past couple weeks, regarding Crunchyroll, how they started streaming, in a sense, manga. For an additional $5 a month, you can actually stream up, the current is 12 titles. Some of them are actually brand new, or being, I don't know what you would call the manga version of simulcasting, but that's what they're, simul-publishing is what they call it, actually. So I'm reading a few of those. There's a couple other titles that are a little older, like 2008, 2005, but they're still fantastic reads nonetheless. But the one that has caught my eye the most is actually a series called UQ Holder. And the main reason why this has caught my eye is actually who is behind it. It's done by none other than Ken Akamatsu, most famously known for working on Love Hina and Negima. And if you have read those, you're absolutely going to love this. And here's the reason why. These actually kind of tie in. They're going to be within the same universe, at least with from Negima. Let me give you a brief rundown, at least the first chapter. You have the main character, Tota Konoe. He, for some reason, always dreamed of going to the capital. He lives in a small, village out in the boonies. The mayor of said village actually told him that if he can actually beat this woman named Yukihime, that he could actually go to the capital. Now, the cool thing about Yukihime is she is one of the major tie-ins into the Negima series, because, and if you think I'm spoiling everything, this is all in the first chapter. You can read this right now for free on the Crunchyroll site. She's actually Evangeline McDowell, the 700-year-old vampire from Negima. So that's a nice little tie-in for that. I think that's kind of cool. Evangeline is apparently, or Yukihime I should say, is actually raising Tota right now. And so when he hears that, I'm going to go ahead and beat my... if I can beat Yukihime, I can go to the capital. That's my lifelong dream. Gets all his friends together, and let's just say it doesn't really end well for him. So the two of them have to battle at odds and whatnot, but it's kind of like playful banter in a sense that she's taking care of him day in and day out, up until the point where a bounty hunter actually comes in. I'm not going to spoil anything beyond that and see what happens, but I have to say it is a really good read. I've been reading this the moment each chapter is available. The story actually is paced really well. It's decent dialogue. It's not as cutesy as you would expect from Ken Akamatsu. I mean, Love Hina, Negima, you're dealing with a very large number of underage kids, and the dialogue can wander off at random times. So far in what I've read, the first 6 chapters, it hasn't really done that. It's actually been steadily progressing forward. The there are several twists so far, and I'm actually really enjoying them. I'm not going to spoil them, but you guys should read it. It's available on Crunchyroll. Just look for UQ Holder. Also, on a side note, from Viz. Viz has been wanting to bring the second Tiger and Bunny movie stateside. And the way they want to go through with that is they want your input as viewers of where you want to see it at. Now, if you go to Viz's website, they'll have a link to a quick, like, 5-question survey. Now, the idea behind this survey wants to know, one, how much are you willing to pay for to watch this film in theaters? Question 4 is actually fairly long because it basically asks you to pick which location you would want to see a screening of the second movie. And that is actually quite nice. So that's just a guarantee you're going to see this in theaters. So whether in New York, in Texas, in San Diego, LA, you have a chance of actually seeing this movie in theaters. Again, we've been showcasing more and more the fact that a number of anime movies are actually making its way stateside in theaters for theatrical distribution. That is amazing. I'm glad that Viz is continuing on with that. Those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, go watch Tiger and Bunny. And Viz apparently is selling the first movie, Tiger and Bunny: The Beginning, and Tiger and Bunny: The Rising, the second movie, is just a continuation of that. So you guys can check that out. Just head over to viz.com and look for the link for Tiger and Bunny: The Rising. It's a fun ride. It doesn't try to get that deep, but it's not as superficial as people think. They just look at it and go, oh, superheroes that are actually branded by real companies. This is like the NASCAR of superheroes. It gets a little deeper than that, but not by much. I'm just going to say that right now. It's just enjoyable. Going back to Crunchyroll real quick, I'm kind of on the fence about this one for the sole fact that you can already watch this at 2 other places. Crunchyroll made the announcement that at long last you can watch One Piece simulcasted on their service. For many people, I'm sure they're absolutely stoked about that. But I do have to say this with a grain of salt. Is that, yes, it is simulcasting on Crunchyroll. Fantastic for those of you who have a subscription to them. But One Piece is currently simulcasting on 2 other services for free as well. One being on Funimation. Granted, there is commercials with that. You can find a direct link to that at onepieceofficial.com, I think is the URL. And the other streaming service is Daisuke, the streaming service that's coming straight from Japan. They're actually offering that. And they actually just recently released an iPad app. So you guys can watch it either for free on Daisuke, on Funimation, or now you can watch it if you have a subscription for, ad-free on Crunchyroll. So the only downside to this is that they're starting with episode 619. That is the absolute latest episode. When is the last time any series reached triple digits for much less 619 episodes? But they show no sign of slowing down. I've been reading the manga, and it's an absolute blast to read. If you guys want to catch up on past episodes, because I'm way behind on that as well, unfortunately, Crunchyroll will not be streaming those as of yet. They're only going to do the simulcast. You can catch up on past episodes, I believe, on Funimation's website. But eventually, they'll be available on Crunchyroll as well. But if here I am talking about series that are being streamed online, brand new, latest and greatest, how about an old school one? I'm talking old, like probably older than most of you guys are alive. In fact, this one was airing just as I was born. So it's kind of a bit old, but I remember watching it a few years ago. I'm talking about God Mars. Full title is Six God Combination God Mars. This is a series that was early 80s, like 1981, 1982. It is 64 episodes long. There was 2 movies after that. The idea behind it, it's the year 1999. You got to remember, this was, early 80s. So the year 2000 was very, very futuristic. Humanity begins to advance beyond the realms of the known solar system. And they run into a small planet, Gishin. And they basically don't like each other. So He basically, the emperor of the said planet actually wants to destroy the Earth and sends a male baby called Mars to live among humanity, who's actually joined by this giant robot, as you see on the right-hand side of your screen. Well, the thing is, he grows up learning to love humanity and whatnot, and uses said giant robot to protect him from all the waves of giant robots and aliens and crazy stuff that is sent from planet Gishin to destroy Earth. The first 6 episodes are currently streaming on Hulu.com right now for free. And I mean, if anything, I don't care if you're not a fan of mecha anime or whatnot. Watching some old school anime like this is always good for a number of reasons. Just, if anything, to watch how far the animation production quality has come. But you also got to realize, some of those old school anime series, although they had very, very, very cheesy storylines, some of the episodes got really dark. So it's a nice combination of the two. So you can check those out right now. Godmars on Crunchyroll, not on Crunchyroll, on Hulu. Sorry. Moving on, we finally got some information from Axis Games about the new Blazblue game. About fracking time. Blazblue Chrono Phantasma just released in Japan, and I know of a few people who have already decided, you know what, we're going to go ahead and import this because it's Blazblue, for crying out loud. Well, looks like you don't have to worry about import fees for all that long, because Axis officially set a time frame for the US release of Blazblue Chrono Phantasma. It'll be available in March of 2014. It is up for pre-order right now for $80, and you get like an art book, the official soundtrack, added in. That's kind of nice. You actually get a Nendroid added in with this. You get a Rachel Nendroid, a poster, and a Blu-ray with special features like behind the scenes and whatnot. That's actually kind of nice. I'm really stoked for that. It'd be very nice to see where that goes. But yeah, you can export it, pre-order this right now. Go to Axis website, look for Blazblue. They'll probably have an image right on their website right now for it. It's going to be amazing. I mean, yes, we have to wait till March of next year, but to know there's an official version on its way is fantastic news. Okay. Now, I do have to say, it's kind of interesting that, well, it's kind of inevitable, I should state, that with the new Blazblue game, there is an anime intro. Like all the other previous titles from Blazblue, also with Guilty Gear, there's an anime intro. But this one has a little slightly different feel than the anime that's actually being streamed right now on Funimation. But you can go online and check that out for yourself. It's actually kind of cool. But that's not it. We have some really cool information. I'm sad to say this next game has yet to have an announcement of its coming stateside or not. It really needs to. I'm talking about the new Idolmaster game, which is called All for One. And the reason why this one is so crazy popular and people are so ecstatic for it is because, unlike previous games for Idolmaster fans, where you can only have like 3, maybe 4 idols at a time that you can actually go ahead and produce, train them, take care of them. This one has up to 13. That's actually kind of cool. Plus, there's actually a new story that ties every single idol together. So you have not only a brand new story, but of course the usual new accessories, new outfits, new songs. I'm totally expecting the fact that in future DLC, which is gonna be horrifically expensive, they may even try to add some new characters along with that. So you guys can check some more information on that online, as well as a brand new trailer for it. Bringing it back stateside real quick. If you have a PS Vita, 1, good for you. 2, there is a game coming out that many people have already decided to import, and Sega US has finally agreed to bring it over. Project Diva F, the Hatsune Miku rhythm game, I guess it's just called, music game, is actually making its way officially stateside. It's going to be released sometime in 2014. That's very nice. Some people will probably frown upon this because, one, they've already imported and beat every single song on Expert. For those of you who have, I hate you. The other part being that when Project Diva F was released for the PlayStation 3 in North America, it's essentially the exact same songs. Now, the original version of Project Diva F for the PS Vita had fewer songs, but it had a bunch of DLC. No word yet how Sega is going to handle that for the US release, but it is making its way stateside officially. That at least tells us that enough of you guys actually went out there and bought the US PS3 version when it came out a few months ago. I was definitely one of those people. Good for you. Keep on doing it, and let's hope that a lot of people will, or enough people will, buy not only the PS3 and the PS Vita version, so that when Project Diva 2 comes out, which has already been announced and teased and videos are out there and it looks amazing, that Sega will bring that one stateside as well. Well, I'll say this. I'm sure you guys have played at least one visual novel game in your lifetime, and there are a number of free titles out there. A lot of them are pay, but you, for the most part, get what you pay for. There's a lot of good stuff out there. But one place that seems to be fairly absent of a large amount of visual novels is actually Steam. Now, yes, there are a few on there right now, but there's going to be a few more, and especially one right now that's actually on Steam Greenlight, which is the website where you go there after you log in and state, I want to support this game. I want this game to show up on Steam, or I want, I don't like that game. That game doesn't look really that good to me. But there is one on Steam Greenlight right now, and this one is called Narcissus. This is actually currently a free visual novel. You can actually download, so you just do a quick search online, you can download the game itself. But they actually have made it through the Steam Greenlight program to the point where people can actually vote on it. If enough people vote on it, this will actually be eventually available on Steam to the whole audience, and that would be absolutely amazing. What's nice about this little campaign is that Narcissus is going to be including Part 1 and Part 2. A lot of people will look at this and look at the premise and think it's Kato wa Shoujo. I'm like, well, yes and no. The idea between the first game is that you have the protagonist who's actually in the hospital, and on the hospital's 7th floor is actually the hospice, where basically people wait to die. You play a young man diagnosed with terminal cancer, or terminal illness I should say, and transferred to that floor. You meet a young patient, as you see on your screen, Setsumi, and the two of you go through a number of different adventures, things from playing pranks around the hospital to eventually trying to break out of said hospital. So, I mean, it is a visual novel, so for those of you who enjoy it, you gotta want to support this one, even though you can already download it and play it right now. You guys should easily go ahead and support this. It takes a couple mouse clicks, and if anything, it allows for more visual novels to be spread amongst the US gaming crowd. You guys want to check this one out. All right. 2 final bits of information before we wrap this up. Number 1, I'm sure you guys have seen it all right now, and we're going to talk about a little more, is that Microsft is basically, at least their Japan branch, is trying to embrace their inner otaku. They released online just a couple days ago at Anime Festival Asia a special video featuring, I guess, a brand new OS-ton. What those are is people in Japan have decided to create anime mascots of every single OS out there, from Linux to Mac to especially Windows. And Microsoft has actually used this in the past. They've actually created official OS-ton characters to help promote their products in Japan. They had Claudia, which was actually voiced by voice actress Eri Kitamura, which is pretty amazing for them to be able to bring her on for that. She was actually supporting the Windows Azure server information. There was actually Madobe Nanami, which was created for Windows 7. It seems like there's not an OS ton, and at least an official OS ton for Windows 8. And that's probably good because Windows 8 I'm not a fan of. However, Microsoft went out and actually created a mascot for Internet Explorer of all things. That's one's kinda odd. And actually, I am being told there actually is not one but two official OS tons for Windows 8. Ah, geez, why? But yes, we have an official Internet Explorer ton now. Never thought I would see an OS ton do a magical transformation sequence, but apparently we're going to see that. Although, it doesn't matter how cool this little anime short clip is. It doesn't matter how much they try to embrace these OS tons. Doesn't matter how moe they try to get. I will forever always use Chrome. So, that's just me. The last bit of odd news is a suit, clothing. And we're not talking about giant t-shirts with your favorite anime characters on it, or even how to, create a Natasha or basically throw anime stickers all over your car. No, we're going to talk about suits. And apparently, there is a thing called itashatsu. Basically, the literal translation is pain shirt. Sort of thing with like itasha and whatnot. Well, there's a company that's now offering to create you a custom suit, measurements, suit, tie, jacket, the whole bit. But they'll line the inside with whatever Bishoujo characters you want. Yes, these are made to order Bishoujo lined suit jackets. So they claim they use some special process to, bring your favorite characters to the suit itself. So when you have your suit on the outside, no one can tell it looks like a regular suit, but on the inside you will have your waifus, caressing your sides. Okay, sure. These are freaking expensive because, like I said, these are made to order. Just the jacket is 70,000 yen. It's over $700 to make a single jacket made to order. Now, if you're already paying that much, the additional 20,000 yen for a pair of slacks that go along with it, that's not going to be, too much for you. So all in all, you can actually spend like $1,000 for your waifu inside your suit jacket. Okay. Sales are apparently scheduled to begin May in 2014, and there are going to be samples displayed actually at Japan Expo in Paris, France next July. So at least we'll get some more shots of it at that time. But honestly, you look at this and go, really? For those otaku who have all the excess money in the world, I'm sure you can find something better to spend your money on. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. But I'm sure you can find something better to spend your money on. All right. Well, we're going to wrap things up with a revival of an old school segment, if you guys remember from the beginnings of AniBreak and also from AX Live back in the day. We are going to bring back the question of the week. And our first one is actually from our friend Anime Manga Antagonist in the chat, who actually pinged this to me about a week and a half ago. And let me give you the idea behind it. So the question is, which is the greater cerebral shoujo, Revolutionary Girl Utena or Puella Magi Madoka Magica? Now, let me give you the idea behind this. By greater cerebral shoujo is basically the themes, the headiness, I guess you can call it, of the storyline. What does it mean to be a magical girl? Kind of stuff like that. And also, essentially, what series would make its viewers have higher therapy bills? So, I already given my answer to AMA. I'm going to share mine next week, but you guys can reply either on Facebook and Twitter. It's the same thing at OtakuLife Jason, and I will pick some of the best ones and share them on next week's show. So, which is the greater cerebral shoujo, Utena or Madoka? I'm looking forward to see what you guys actually put on that. It should be very entertaining. Everybody, well, that's going to be it for this episode. I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out. Stay tuned for post-show. And, yeah, it's an absolute blast. So, for AniBreak, I'm Jason. We'll see you guys next week. Take it easy.
Pretend you're touching me, I'm so